it's very multifaceted, also in my own life, and I've seen it from so many perspectives and from so many angles, depending on where I was at the time. But I mean, really, the Matrimandir, I think it's we could say it's my journey through Auroville. I came to Auroville in 1974 in January, shortly after the mother had left her body in November, I think it was. Yeah, in November 73. In those days, the entry process was really simple. There was a group. Mother's son was, I think, part of that, Shamsunda and Roger. In that first year, I met up with these people in Pondy. And I think it was then that Roger said, well, he can work at Matrimandir. And at first, we worked in the Matrimandir gardens for about a year. And planting trees. And much of the outer gardens, many of the trees there, they were planted by us at that time. So that was really like the time when I first heard of Matrimandir. I don't think I informed myself very well before coming to Auroville, really what was going on. Frederick, I mean, of course, the idea was to visit Frederick, my uncle. And so we drove overland. And I think I was 18 at that time, or 19. The involvement with the Matrimandir, it went on actually for, I think, close to 20 years from then on. After the gardens, they needed people on the structure, so we started working on the structure. In those days, you had various departments, be it woodwork or bar bending or concreting. So we shifted through all these different areas as the workflow required, and so I did more or less everything. That's one of the interesting aspects of the Matrimandir, is that it wasn't done by professionals. None of us had any formal, whatever. I mean, if you're in the West, you're a barbender, you're a barbender. That's what you do on construction site. You do scaffolding work, well, that's what you do. You don't shift from scaffolding to any other area because, So, but we did at that time, and somehow it worked. And many of the friendships that were forged then exist, practically all of them, as a matter of fact. I mean, there was always controversy around the Matrimandir, and mainly it's centered on the different approach on how to finish. Well, not only the skin, but also the chamber. And that was always like different camps. You were either in this camp or you were in that camp. So at one point there was a community meeting in which I think the community made a decision to follow Roger's input as far as the finishing of the Matrimandir on the outer skin, the Matrimandir gardens, the petals, etc. was concerned, and then Piero should finish the chamber. I developed suddenly another look at the Matrimandir, where I stepped out of this, controversial situation, and said, well, I'm actually not part of this camp or that camp at all. I'm here for something completely different, and we're actually here to realize Mother's vision, how she had seen the Matrimandir, and she had obviously given a lot of importance to it. So let's get on with it. And it doesn't matter if it looks like this or it looks like that, or there are petals or no petals, or discs or no discs. These are not the important parts of it. There was always a moment of like incredible silence. And not just the silence of the machines being switched off, but somehow there was I would, in retrospect, think it was like an inner silence that was there, and a happiness about what we had just achieved and done, and one more step. Yeah, there was always something in the background at Matrimandir, and still is. Throughout all this time, there was obviously an inner part that was really not connected with it. And so I often went to Matrimandir, sat in the chamber, and for me, it's definitely a place where I find a quality, an air of clarity, and yeah, it's which I don't find anywhere else. And if I sit and meditate in the Matrimandir, it's totally different than when I sit and meditate at home. It's just not the same thing. Sometimes I go in and like, yeah, it's all, I walk off the street and my mind still turns and churns, and I'm totally not there. And suddenly I'm in front of this thing and I say, whoa, wait a minute, like take a breath and be here. At other times, I go specifically because I want to clear my mind, or I want to, be present, and so work on that beforehand, before I even get through the gate. So that's a whole different thing. I think the Matrimandir is in many ways acts like a mirror, to show you where you are and what you need to work on. And yeah, I grew up there, really, in many ways. And as I said, the Matrimandir has been a bit my journey through Auroville. So my growing is very much associated with the Matrimandir, and my spiritual quest and journey is really focused around the Matrimandir. In these sort of hot summer days at the amphitheater, when these cool evenings, then once the day is over and there's always a breeze there, bit of a relief from the heat, and yeah, I like to sit there. The Matrimandir is something we have finished. And there's not so many things in Auroville we have finished. In fact, we're now being accused of having failed and having not really come up with the goods. And I think that's very disconcerting to hear that as a collective, as well as an individual who has been, spending the bigger part of his life in Auroville and working here. I think it's untrue, obviously. But things like the Matrimandir and the Greenbelt and various other aspects of Auroville, they act like anchors, and they show us, no, that's not true. We haven't failed. We haven't obviously achieved the goals. The goals are very high and difficult to achieve. It's not a crown that you pick up sort of on the way. It's something. It's a quest, a collective quest that we're on. Roger always laughed, and he said, "Look, don't worry about it." He says, "The Matrimandir and the gardens, it's very ephemeral. It will keep on moving. What we do today will not be there forever, and it will change. And that would be my aspiration for the future of the Matrimandir, that actually it retains or maybe regains, I should say at this point, that flexibility and this possibility of changing and depending on a collective sort of state of Auroville, to be able to reflect that."